In 2010, DreamWorks Animation Studio released the instant classic, How to Train Your Dragon. And shockingly, it grossed $500 million worldwide. Its success, at least in my opinion, comes largely from how the expertly written characters interact with the world and of course the dragons around them, both of which are equally shrouded in mystery. Although this is something that I feel is lacking from the other entries in the series, this film is simply dripping with an environment that seems only to scratch the surface of the lore that must exist in the world of How to Train Your Dragon. This is exemplified in no better way in any other part of the movie than the Dragon Manual scene, where during a stormy night, the main character and runt of the village, Hiccup, timidly researches in the Dragon Manual of Berg, searching for the page of the elusive Night Fury, the most feared of all the dragons. And after being borderline mentally scarred by the book, reading things like
turns its victims, buries its victims, chokes its victims, turns its victims inside out.
After all of that, he finds the final page blank. This dragon is supposed to be the worst of the worst. And so leaving it up to the imagination was an absolutely brilliant move by the writers of the movie, leaving you as the audience just imagining what kind of terrible things this dragon must be able to do. This is most likely why I loved this scene so much as a child, and why to this day the Dragon Manual is one of my favorite items from film, animation or otherwise. And that's why this month for DIY Prop Culture Builds, I fulfill a childhood dream of mine and build the Dragon Manual from How to Train Your Dragon. Instead of buying a leather manuscript book with aged pages, which are easy enough to find online, I'm going to make the Dragon Manual from scratch. I'm going to bind it and draw it all myself. For the materials, you will need fake leather, 11 by 6 inch sketchbook paper, or similar size, needle and thread, cardboard, both black and red colored pencils, and finally, a good old cup of joe. Ugh, why does everybody like this stuff? First, remove the paper from the sketch pad binding, and then fold each piece perfectly in half. Be meticulous with this step, because if even one of the pages is a little off, it will really make binding the text block difficult later. Brew a cup of coffee and pour the icky bean juice into a tray. Soak each of the papers and then preheat your oven. Once it has been heated, one by one bake each sheet of paper. I did mine on 300 for about 2 minutes each. This will make your papers look aged. Once you have all of your papers aged and dried out, get out 2 books. It doesn't really matter if they're books as long as they're big and flat enough to compress the entire text block. You're going to want to do this so that your book isn't swollen at the end. I let it sit for a night or 2, and when I came back I was pretty pleased with the result. I then took each of the pages and filed them inside each other in groups of 5 as such. This created 5 different blocks for a total of 50 sheets. This will make a 100-page book in the end. Next, bind each block. This was definitely the most difficult part for someone like me who didn't know how to bind a book before today. It was quite a challenge. After each of the bindings is done, I took the cardboard and I cut out enough material to make the front cover, the back cover, and the spine. I folded it over the text block. Then I got lazy and just decided to glue it all to the spine. Once this is done, apply the leather to the book. This can be difficult, especially if the piece you have is uneven like mine. But make sure when you make your paper to leave an extra sheet to glue into the front and back covers. To make the Dragon Decal on the top of the book, I found yet another reference image and then I freehanded it. Although it would have probably been way smarter to print and then stencil it because it was a bit off-center. Now for the tedious part, drawing. I found reference images of the pages online. I slowed down the footage in the scene from the film, and then I placed out where I thought each page would be. Then I got to work. This was by far the most time-consuming part of the whole project. It was pretty much day in, day out for weeks, finding a chance to sketch in any free moment I could. Each page took between an hour and 15 minutes to maybe 45 minutes once I got really good at it. I also wrote the book in the runic key that it appears to be written in the movie. So once you're done with that, you have your very own Book of Dragons. For effort, I actually put this project in the medium to difficult range. It doesn't necessarily require a lot of skill, but it does require a lot of time and commitment. For cost, it was actually fairly cheap, coming in at around $25 to $30, with all the materials being easy and accessible both at Michael's and Walmart. However, I did end up going through quite a few black colored pencils. Night Fury. Speed unknown, size unknown, the unholy offspring of lightning and death itself. Never engage this dragon. Your only chance, hide and pray it does not find